We begin with the political fallout from President Tinubu's recent clemency announcement, a move that was meant to signal reconciliation, but instead has drawn sharp criticism from civil society and opposition figures. Now, then we turn to the controversial 15% fuel duty, a policy many say will hit the poorest hard, as Nigerians already struggle with rising costs and stagnant wages. We'll also examine the latest military shuffle. What does it mean for frontline operations? And is it a strategic reset or political maneuvering? And we'll also be looking at the troubling reports of religious violence, including alleged killings of Christians in parts of the country. Now, what drives these attacks, and what is the government doing to protect vulnerable communities? Well, it's a bumper-packed conversation we have for you today. I have, of course, Zariyi Yusuf, a former national coordinator of the Middle Belt Patriots. He joins virtually from Abuja. I also have Justice Uhuegbu, who's a legal practitioner, joining from Lagos virtually. Gentlemen, thank you for your time.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. It is my pleasure once more.
All right. Let me, of course, start the conversation here with Zariyi Yusuf. Zariyi, let's first, look at the issue of the killings. And the reason why I'm bringing this up now, even though it's meant to be, of course, in the course of the conversation, is because just a while ago, the President of the United States did post on social media a reaction to the, I call it, perceived Christian genocide in Nigeria. Permit me to read part of what he said, and I'm talking of President Donald J. Trump. He said, Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria. Thousands of Christians are being killed. Radical Islamists are responsible for this mass slaughter. I'm hereby making Nigeria a country of particular concern. But this is the least of it. When Christians or any such group is slaughtered, like is happening in Nigeria, and he put in, of course, in bracket there, that's 3,100 versus 4,476 worldwide. Something must be done, and I'm asking Congressman Auwal Moore, together with Chairman Tom Cole and the House Appropriations Committee, to immediately look into the matter and report back to me. The United States cannot stand while such atrocities are happening in Nigeria and numerous other countries. We stand ready, willing, and able to save our great Christian population around the world. Of course, end of his, post there. I mean, how grave is this situation? I know that we've had conversations as regards attacks and killings, in some parts of the country, but with this particular one, how grave is it, in the country?
Well, I think, first of all, the fact that you are saying, whether you said alleged or whatsoever, tells you a lot how far the country has gone in denying what has been happening for almost 2 decades. I would remind you that since 2015, when General Muhammadu Buhari late came into power, there was a certain change in attitude of the government with regards to non-state actors, especially those who do it in the name of Islam, those who believe they are Islamist, although hiding under all forms of nomenclature, from Boko Haram to the ones that directly sprang up from Boko Haram and swore allegiance to ISIS, to the ones that are operational in the Middle Belt that pass as headers. Mass graves, mass slaughter is not new to Nigeria's Middle Belt. Mass burials are not new to any pastor in Nigeria's Middle Belt, whether the evangelicals, whether the Catholics, regardless of denomination. People have cried about this for over 15 years. It is unfortunate that all of a sudden, because the international community has decided to beam its searchlight in Nigeria, suddenly people are becoming awake to make it look as if the Christians were living a rosy life, and then somebody is trying to put in an idea in their head that never existed before. It is a dirty situation that could best be described as a genocide. Reason being, these people are not just killing randomly. They are not thieves. They are not armed robbers. And I do not think they are bandits. I do not think they are kidnappers. Whatever form of criminality will be attached to their activity is simply what they do on the side to sustain themselves. They have a primary mission, which is expansionist, and it is fueled by their religious ideology, which is Islamism. It's as simple as that. That is how bad and dirty it is. They kill people in hundreds, they sack communities and all of that. It's a dirty situation.
But I mean, does it appear like this is targeted to a certain faith, a tribe, or a religion?
Yes, it's a Christian genocide. It is targeted against the people they refer to as infidels.
But some have also argued. Some have also argued that faith might not really be in the context here. That even people of other faith too are being killed and are also targets.
It is true. There is no Christian, there is no pastor, there is nobody that has ever denied the fact that Muslims also fall victim of these attacks. But what kind of Muslims are being attacked actually? It is Hausa Muslims. It is important to understand the people that are carrying out the attacks. And why are they being killed? They are being killed simply because they may not necessarily subscribe to the ideology of the killers. Most of the time, if you go to the places where Muslims are being killed, they will tell you that part of the things they list as the reason why they kill some of them is because they see them as collaborators, possibly giving the military men or the security agencies information about them. They are primarily Islamists. That basically is what they are. And then any Muslim that does not align with their ideology is as good as an infidel, and they would kill him. So nobody has ever denied the fact that they kill Muslims as well. But what we are saying is that this Islamist group, the most dangerous terrorist group on earth, that hides as either hiders or whatsoever they call themselves, their primary target is the Christian population, especially in the middle belt, the Belton part of the country. Otherwise, why do you kill people, kill women and children, and then you go back and search for places they kept their grains and not pack them to eat, but destroy them, destroy their crops? If they have machines that they run, irrigation, farming, and all of that, you destroy them, basically kill them, and then you cripple them economically. It's a genocide. It's targeted as Christians.
All right, Justice, let me bring the conversation to you. I mean, I also know that you're a lawyer. We've seen, let's examine this from the approach of how it's been tackled, particularly by the government. There have been efforts, and I'm looking at security right now from a broader spectrum here. There have been efforts over the years to sort of clamp down on banditry. We've seen budgets and monies being deployed. But again, a twist to it is some individuals have even been caught, but then they are pardoned, right? They are given, is it amnesty that it's called right now? And then people are beginning to ask, what exactly is the objective of this fight? Where is sincerity here? Is this, what does this reflect, if at all, of our handling of it, or even the judicial system?
Well, the truth about the matter is that if you can recall, I've always talked about lack of sincerity of purpose. That is the problem we have in Nigeria. The government is not sincere, and they have not been sincere in what they are doing, especially on the issue of tackling insecurity in Nigeria. We are all Nigerians, and we are aware that even few or some of the military men had even come out openly to speak out some of the ambush they have had in the past, and noticing that some of them are even giving information to the bandits and all the rest. You see, it is no news that this is a Christian genocide. Let us take, for example, what happened in Southern Kaduna from 2015. Southern Kaduna is predominantly Christians. And if you discover, you know that it has always been that area that these attacks and killings has always taken place. And some other areas in the middle belt and all the rest. Now, coming to say the issue of tackling insecurity, as far as I'm concerned, the government has not done anything. In fact, the government is not serious, as far as I'm concerned. Because if the government, I could recall one of the security advisor to the former president who came out on that, I think AI, to say that they had even suggested and told the government what to do, but that they are surprised that they're not doing it. So it's an issue of interest. When the person who is there, maybe the president or whoever that is there, have interest or does not want to touch a particular people, what do you expect? Some people feel above the law. Some people feel that they can do anything and get away with it. We are talking about amnesty. How can you now grant amnesty to people who that have sworn that what they do in life is killing people? And now you grant them amnesty, you recruit them back to the Nigerian military, and they continue perpetuating their crime. Man, we should tell ourselves the truth in Nigeria. That's why I say that what we are suffering is what I call lack of sincerity of purpose. We are not serious. That is just the truth.
All right. I'm going to also come back to you, to Yusuf, on this. The idea of a repentant, will I call it terrorists that are de-radicalized and, are reintegrated into society. I mean, a report has it that a total of over 13,000 terrorists and, the families have surrendered to troops of the armed forces of Nigeria. And out of it, over 2,000 former fighters have completed a de-radicalization, rehabilitation, and reintegration program. That's just in Gombe State. And, I mean, more we see being reported every day. But what does this reflect, on our approach and even the fight itself? And how do you think this even affects the morale of the armed forces, men in boots who are in the bush fighting these people? Does this reflect justice in any way?
Let me respond to your question bluntly. Whatever it is the Federal Republic of Nigeria refers to as that program of de-radicalization, amnesty, or whatsoever, possibly some of the players in it may be doing it sincerely. But I want to let you know that to the best of my understanding of what these Islamist attacks are, it is simply another phase of integrating these killers into our security architecture. They will blend in because, first of all, I have never seen one repentant terrorist that as a result of repenting, he was able to give up 1 or 2 camps where the remaining fighters are, and possibly they were bombed or they were eliminated. It has never happened anywhere before. If it has happened before, maybe I need to be educated on that. A scenario where a state is actively engaged in a deadly war, I'm talking to you about bloodshed. I mean, at some point I know Buhari banned the mainstream media from reporting the casualty that the Nigerian military suffers. They are not just killed. These terrorists attack them, and then they cut away with weapons that you can't actually even conceive. And they go with it. What do you need the weapons for? It's because of the main purpose they have ahead. What I fear for Nigeria is a scenario where we may end up like Afghanistan, where these terrorists will just overrun the capital city one day, and then the ones that have the power to fly out of the country would just do so. So when you begin to grant amnesty, you begin to go into negotiation with a deadly terrorist group. And I would repeat, so far on this planet, there is no terrorist group that is as deadly as the ones operating in Nigeria. Whether it is Boko Haram, whether it is Lakurawa, whether it is Mahmuda, whether it is the ones in the middle belt that are primarily wiping out Christian communities and referring to themselves as, Fulani headers. That's the Fulani Islamist militia. When you engage in pardoning them and amnesty, while there is an active war going on against, with them, what it suggests is not a strategy to end terrorism, but it does look like a matter of complicity on the side of the government, because there is no reason whatsoever to do so.
Sorry, Zariyi Yusuf. I mean, you definitely did establish some points here, but I want to take you also to something that a lot of Nigerians are also witnessing on social media. I'd also direct the same question to you, to Justice. The fact that some of these bandits, we see them on social media. They post themselves. Some of them post their bounty. They post their weapons. It looks like they're having a field day. They don't even hide their faces. And yet, we are still in this fight. So what do you consider the problem here? Is it the lack of willpower, the lack of skill, or are these people even powerful, more powerful than the state?
I do not think it's a matter of them being more powerful than the state. let me respond to the question as a typical Middle Belton who has seen their activities firsthand. I don't think it is a failure on the side of our security or a matter of being overpowered. To the best of my understanding, I would suspect complicity. Reason being, when you have 400, 500 Islamists riding on bikes, possibly covering a distance of kilometers, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, to come into a city center with the same people they have been molesting, people whose wives they've been raping, and they sit down there for possibly 1-2 hours in what is referred to as peace talks, and they ride back into the bush on their bikes with their weapons. Sometimes even the people who are supposed to be their victims, especially in those parts of the country where that are Muslim dominated, they look as if they are cheering them. They make videos, you could track them down, but they don't track them down. So I don't think it's a failure. To the best of my understanding, I think it's complicity, either officially as a position of the state, or there are strategic people in key positions in the security architecture that are ensuring that they suppress the response of the country to these terrorists while they thrive. Because the best thing that has been happening over the years since 2015 is the proliferation of terrorist organizations. And then they are amassing in number, their numbers are increasing, their weaponry is getting sophisticated, and they are becoming bolder. In other words, they could come out and host meetings with Islamic clerics, monarchs, military officers, and they spew nonsense and they go back to the bush and nothing happens to them. So I think at this point, we will not look at the incapability of the government or the military, but we should suspect complicity. Okay, that's what basically.
Justice, do you think this is also the issue of complicity? Because I mean, I'm particular about some of them who review their faces on social media. I know that even average Nigerians who just type on Twitter, for instance, on X, type certain things that are considered detrimental by the state. You have the DSS knocking almost less than 48 hours on their door, pick them up. But these individuals brandish, sophisticated weapons. Some of them even show off their bounty, wads of cash, with so much impunity. Yet it appears nothing, is happening. We see it every time. I mean, if you go on TikTok, it's funny how you will find those videos there, with so much impunity. So for you, what is missing here?
Well, just like you rightly said, they are not hiding it anymore. For me, like he rightly said, it's an issue of complicity. Remember that even before the military goes out for operation, or the police or the DSS you're talking about, they must get the approval from the Minister of Interior and also from the Commander-in-Chief, which is the President. And let's also remember that all these things became worse from 2015. And if you look at the body language, let's accept the truth. The president then was a Muslim. And these Muslim states became so powerful that they became untouchable. And unfortunately, that time we started it as a note of warning that is a monster seed that will grow and germinate that nobody will control. Today, it is affecting everybody. But then they felt it was targeted at a particular group of people or religion. But today, everybody is suffering it. Ojukwu wrote a book because I'm involved. So today, directly or indirectly, every Nigerian is involved. So what I'm trying to say here is an issue of complicity. It's not as if that the government would not know what to do. But who gives orders? Who will give order for the arrest? Who will give order? If you remember, during Obasanjo, there was a problem, Tuji. The president, they have to even order a shoot aside. But since that time to today, we have not seen something again. But these are bandits, these are Fulani herdsmen that is being killing people on daily basis. They're not hiding it. They're not hiding their faces. So somebody is protecting them. Somebody is giving them protection. Somebody is shielding them. And that is why these things will not go. Now, you're talking about security apparatus. If the military goes on an operation, they will always ambush them. And they will go. And at the time, they will tell them to come back. Somebody is giving order. So it's an issue of complicity. There's no twist about it. The government cannot exonerate themselves from this, especially the government of 2015.
Do you see an improvement, I mean, with the recent overhaul of service chiefs by Mr. President?
Well, let me tell you the truth. Even if you want to change the service chiefs every day, the problem will still continue. Provided we do not have that sincerity of purpose. There must be sincerity of purpose. If the government wants to tackle insecurity today, they can do it. Just like we rightly said, these people, they are in a particular place. They show themselves. They show, in fact, we saw a video last time, one of the bandits was doing wedding or something like that, and they were brandishing their guns. They know them. They are not living in the sky or in heaven. They are living here in Nigeria, and they have locations. But one person, just let one person commit a crime today. The police will get them. The DSS will get them. The military will get them, and all the rest. So why has this move become untouchable?
I mean, that's a pivotal question. But I mean, before we continue this conversation, let's go on a quick break. When we return, we'll be switching conversations to other very burning issues. Part of it has to do with the clemency that Mr. President did grant and revised, right? And also what I call it, rumors about a perceived coup plot. I mean, we'll talk about that and more. Stay with us. We'll be right back. I still have my guest. Zariyi Yusuf is the former national coordinator, Middle Belt Patriots, joining virtually from Abuja, and also Justice Uhuegbu is a legal practitioner joining from Lagos. Gentlemen, thank you for staying with me. Right now, let's switch the conversations to the recent, what I call it, overhaul within the security architecture and the, what I call it, rumored alleged coup plot, which the federal government has denied and has said that, look, there's an investigation happening. Instead of dwelling even on rumors, why not wait for the outcome of the investigations? But, I mean, information out there, of course, has it that maybe this did happen. But my question to you is, and I'm coming to you right now, Zariyi Yusuf, what does this reflect of our democracy, our current democracy, and our security architecture as a whole? Do you think that there is a major internal crack?
There has always been a crack in the security architecture.
I'm talking crack within ranks. Sorry, crack within ranks.
Okay, let me approach it this way. You see, right from when Buhari came to power, I have always had my suspicion with regards to the health of the security architecture in Nigeria. It is not possible to have security chiefs or to have anyone that advocates negotiations with terrorists. It's not possible to have them within the cycles of the security architecture and assume that things are well. The recent shake-up, even though I'd say, the sacking of the security chiefs and then the statement that Nigerians should wait for investigation and all of that, it doesn't make sense. You've already taken an action in response to what you said was a coup, and you're telling people to wait. It doesn't add up. What baffles me, what makes me fear, what makes me believe that nothing has been made better by sacking the security chiefs is that we still have Uhuegbu, we still have Badaru, and we still have Matawale. What are those people still doing close to the presidency, if at all there was a coup? When you look at the list that was released of the plotters, you would actually ask yourself, why did those other ones leave, and why are these ones still there? It's not logical, except of course there is something else that we don't know. But when you overhaul the security architecture and then you leave these people, one, Uhuegbu is a northern Muslim who, contrary to the sacked chief of defense staff who advocates that we confront this tactically and deal with them, we negotiate, we engage them from a position of strength, he is advocating, Uhuegbu advocates non-kinetic approach. What non-kinetic approach could you ever engage with an Islamist group other than submission? So in other words, to a large extent, by his ethnicity and his religion and the opinion or the position he has taken in engaging the deadliest terrorist group on earth, he shouldn't be anywhere close to that cycle. So what it tells you about what's happening in the country is that we are not exactly bothered with the increase or with the boldness and the emboldening of these terrorists, but we are trying to find ways to make everything political. In other words, the decision is not meant to guarantee the security of lives and property or to bring an end to the Christian genocide, but it's just meant to guarantee something that will score political points or possibly guarantee some form of victory come election or something of that nature. But basically, whatever it is that has happened does not look like anything that has any relevance in dealing with the security situation in the country.
Okay, I'm coming to you, Justice. Justice, I mean, still on this issue of this alleged plot, so to speak. For many Nigerians who, of course, have been reacting to this, what does this reflect of governance, particularly when it comes to maybe the current administration? Does this put pressure to deliver, the dividends of democracy, or does this make them to be more suspicious and say, you know what, we need to ramp up maybe the security around us and maybe the security around the country?
How can it be a yardstick or a problem to give dividends of democracy to the people? What does it have to do with dividends of democracy? See, let me tell you the truth. The truth is that our government, they are not serious. It's just like what we discussed last time, the topic we just finished. How many hours did it take the security apparatus or the government to even make the arrest they made so far? So why is it also taking the government so much time to tackle banditry, to tackle Fulani herdsmen and the killers and all the rest? You see, that is to tell you that they are complicit. They know what they are doing. That is just the truth. Provided it is not affecting them directly, they are not interested. The people in government, provided it's not affecting them directly, they are not interested. Once it's affecting the masses, if you look at the people that are being killed, it is the masses, the poor masses. So how is it affecting them? How is it affecting the high and mighty in the society? So it's not that it has nothing to do with giving dividends of democracy. No, let me tell you the truth. Leadership is a thing of passion. And as far as you have leadership quality, the dividends of democracy will come out naturally. You don't campaign for it. You don't go and promise people heaven and earth. It will be seen, people will see it happening naturally. So it is neither here nor there. The truth is today, as it is today, is that the people in governance today that say that our leaders are not leading us, they are only rulers. We don't have leaders in Nigeria. What you have is Nigeria rulers.
But sorry, just to interrupt your line of thought, you said they are only rulers. I'd like you to put it within context, because this same set of individuals, there have been reports and, of course, statistics to show that there is improvement in terms of the policies, economic policies. Some of it will say, you know what, we've been able to drop down when it comes to our debt as a nation. Inflation is dropping. We can see improvement and all of that. So how does the word rulership, justify all of this?
Well, why I say this is, that's why I said I try to put a distinction between rulership and leadership. Leadership is a thing of passion. When you lead, people will see it. There will be a lot of positive changes. But when a ruler is in power, the ruler rules with his intent on what he wants and what he wants to achieve. These are the difference. Now, you're talking about what advancement has we made so far? The economy is so bad. The people are crying. The health sector has collapsed, education has collapsed, and everything. You're talking about index. If you look at the economic index in Nigeria today, it's neither here nor there. We are still borrowing. Every time Nigeria is borrowing. The ones you borrow, what has happened? Now, the subsidy they've removed in petroleum, what effect has it happened to Nigerians? And let me tell you, whatever policy you're bringing, that it does not affect the masses positively, is no policy. The policy is only, benefiting a few of them. And these few of them are less than 2% of the population of the country. So when you see all these things you see them talk, they are just in paper. Go outside here. We are Nigerians. We belong to the people, including you. Go to the market today with 50,000 naira. You're still talking. How much is a bag of rice? Before 2015, a bag of rice is sold for 7,500 thousand. Today, how much is a bag of rice? How can somebody come and say they are improving? We are doing this, we are doing that. You're not doing anything. A tuber of yam today, a sizable tuber of yam today is from 2,000 naira and above. So what are we saying? People should stop deceiving themselves and not Nigerians. Deceiving themselves and not Nigerians. Things are getting worse by the day. People are dying.
Okay,
hunger,
maybe in that breath, let me also ask you just quickly before I move away from you. Now, there's also the issue of the 15% import tariff on what I call it a petrol right now, which of course is gathering momentum. We know that this, of course, is a follow-up to the removal of subsidy, where Nigerians are even trying to adapt to the realities of that policy. Quickly for you, this 15% import tariff that Mr. President is okay to be imposed, what impact do you see it having in 30 seconds?
It will further worsen the situation of Nigeria. Let me tell you. Can you tell us one thing, or can this government tell us one thing they have subsidized for the citizens? Nothing. The issue of petroleum, which every Nigerian is a stakeholder, it is our resources.
But the administration is saying that, look, this is just meant to sort of give local manufacturers leverage.
I love that.
Local manufacturers leverage in a way to promote our own.
How can you promote your own on what? Our refineries, are they working? Who are the people that have killed these refineries? You take this crude, send it back to abroad, and we import it back from abroad. Is it not a shame? Let's be realistic to ourselves. Probably before now, our refineries have been working, and we never experienced this. Let us understand that how did the importation of petroleum start in the first place? Even as at the time when Abacha started importation of petroleum, it was so that 11 naira per liter. Today, a country that is one of the world's largest producers of crude in the world, petroleum is being sold almost the highest in the world. What are we saying? And you're saying you remove this, you remove this, you remove that. If there's subsidizer, and knowing the simple fact that this thing will affect almost virtually everything in the country, petroleum products. Look at gas. Do you know how much a kg of cooking gas is today? Gas that is ordinarily supposed to be free. This is waste. Cooking gas is a waste product. Are you aware? I mean, the government is not doing anything as far as I'm concerned.
All right, thank you, Justice. Let me also direct the same question to you, to Yusuf. Yusuf, I mean, looking at this 15% import tariff on imported petrol, the aim the federal government is looking at this is, you know what, let's give our local manufacturers some sort of leverage. My question to you is this. Let's even go back to the removal of the subsidy itself. Would you say it has achieved its objective?
All right. I would beg your pardon because there's something I missed out, and I would just say it in less than in maybe 30 seconds, and I'll answer your question. Going by the list, the composition of those on the, listed as the coup plotters, the people that were sacked, it will either be that it's an unfortunate thing that you would sack the service chiefs. Going by their composition, what it means is that likely, and this is my suspicion.
I mean, just quickly, the list you are referring to is not the list from the government, right? For now, we are not aware of any of such.
Well, there have been names that were listed, and they've been going around. Possibly,
okay, so it's not an authorized source. That's just what I wanted to establish.
All right. But then what I'm trying to say is whatever it is the government would do in response to whether the coup is true or not, I would advise that the likes of the Rebadu, the NSA, Matawale, and Badaru should have been sacked along with those ones, and then fresh blood will be pumped in, especially those who will not entertain the notion of negotiating with terrorists.
All right.
Now,
all right. You come back to your second response. I understand we need to go on a quick break. When we return, of course, I'll take your thoughts on the 15% import tariff. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Zariyi Yusuf, former National Coordinator, Middle Belt Patriots, joining from Abuja, and also Justice Uhuegbu, legal practitioner. joining virtually from Lagos, are both my guests at this time. Thank you for staying with me, gentlemen. Now, in 30 seconds, or, at most 60, Yusuf, the floor is yours. Your reaction on this tax, on petrol. Imported
well,
petrol,
basically, I would say it's just multiplying failure, one set after the other. When the president came in, he removed subsidy. Of course, we knew it would bite, but it was with the assumption that with time, we would understand what, the economic impact of it. But other than plunge people, the masses other than reduce them into basically slaves and beggars, it hasn't done anything, because until date, we haven't seen anything. You removed subsidy, so you are no longer paying subsidy. The masses are paying for it. And yet you kept borrowing far more than any other president has done. And then all of a sudden, from the little that the masses are struggling to just live from hand to mouth, you are trying to tax them some more. What it leaves me wondering is whether it is the man himself that is making these policies. Because he does look to me, because I don't really think he could be actually that wicked. That basically his business is to molest the citizens with no economical end, at the end of everything. I think he is a puppet of certain dangerous groups that are benefiting massively from all of these things that are happening. The third world country believes just hike up taxes and prove a point that you could borrow more. So taxing the masses is not because he needs to save the economy, it's because he wants to prove to those places he borrows money that he can pay them. And that is very unfortunate. What it will lead to the country is a scenario where I don't really know, Nigerians have become weak. We've been beaten emotionally and spiritually. But what I fear is what the average Nigerian would become when it's obvious that the leaders or the rulers, like my friend said, are basically out to kill them. And I would say this to you in my final thought. The singular fact that the Nigerian masses have not started lynching these wicked politicians on the street is a miracle that they must not take for granted.
All right, gentlemen, I'd like to say a big thank you for your time on the program this evening. It's been great having this conversation. Once again, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, at this point, this, of course, is where we close sharp. In case you missed out, you can catch up on our YouTube platform. That's at News Central TV. You can also choose to follow us on social media. The handle is there on your screen. You can choose to follow me personally at Dakbo, at Digboye. Until I come your way again, good night. Up next is Tonight.